this meeting to order at 5:02 p.m. Please be advised that FATV is conducting audio and video recording of this meeting for public broadcast. I ask that anyone else in the audience who is recording this meeting to please identify themselves by standing and stating their name and city of residence. Seeing none, I ask that at this time all electronic devices be placed into silent mode. The Fitchburg Cultural Council is a public entity. We are part of the Massachusetts Cultural Council, serving as the local cultural council. Our mission here is to elevate the rich cultural life in Fitchburg, and our members are appointed by the mayor of the city of Fitchburg. We all serve as volunteers, and we are always looking for new members. Feel free to talk to any one of us to learn how you can get involved. You may also email us with your interest at fitchburg.mcc@gmail.com. For council as president of tonight's meeting, I'll call the roll. Joe Bowen, that's me, I'm here. Liz Murphy.
Here.
Dan Dow.
Present.
Shara Osgood.
Present.
Mike Amadeo.
Present.
Lily Gomez Fernandez.
Present.
Catherine Healy.
Present.
Jen Hemingway, absent. Eva Kelly.
Present.
Ricardo Barros.
Present.
C. Moran.
Here.
Millie Whitfield.
Present.
Tamar Russell Brown.
Present.
Okay, all but one are present. We have a quorum. For our agenda this evening, we're going to go into public comment, and then we'll talk about new members if there's anything new to discuss there. We'll get a grant report from Dan, a treasurer's report from Liz, and then we have some minutes to review. And then I'd like to close the meeting around the survey that we had sent around within the membership of the Cultural Council to help define some of the next steps. And we're talking about baby steps for the group on what we'll do next in terms of our growth and participation and activation within the community. And I want to thank you all in advance now for taking that survey. It was very helpful to put all the information together and come up with some thoughts and ideas for us to review tonight. Okay, on to public comment. Are there any members of the public wishing to speak for no more than 2 minutes? If so, you're free to come on up. Seeing none, we'll move into new members. I don't have much to update in terms of new members. We have one interested new member who we are working to schedule into bringing on to the Cultural Council, and that would be Sarah, and she's joining us tonight. I thank you for coming. Have any of you had any interactions or interests with new members that might be interested in joining us? Okay, so none. So we have nothing more to say about the new members at this point. Thank you. We'll move on to the grant report. Dan?
Good evening, fellow cultural members and citizens of Fitchburg. Over the past month, I've been working diligently to ensure all grantees have filed their 2025 grant agreements. As of Sunday, 4/27, of our 73 grantees, 53 have filed their grant agreements and W-9s, which have been all filed and submitted to the mayor's office for processing. Of these 53 filed grant reports, 6 have also filed their final grant reports. On April 7th, I emailed grantees reminding them of our March 21st deadline for grant agreements and W-9 forms. I will send a follow-up email to grantees who have not submitted their required documentation on May 5th. As previously noted, I have been working closely with Miles Wilcox from the Mayor's Office to ensure the timely processing and review of grant agreements. Miles and FCC documentation are in close alignment, and we continuously are reviewing our spreadsheets to ensure the trend continues. As for grantee payments, Miles that closed at the first round of checks would be going out Friday, 4/25. I will follow up him to ensure these checks are mailed out. I have received a couple of emails from grantees inquiring about payments, so that's been a priority for me. On a note of 2025, on a note for FY24, I am happy to announce that I have been that with the assistance of our chair, Joe Bowen, the FCC was able to touch base with the grantee about an outstanding final grant report. This was previously noted as being referred to the city for collections. I'll be working with the grantee to ensure the final report is properly filed. Once this is done, I can finalize the 2024 documentation for submission to the mayor's office for filing. Chair, may I request a motion to approve the grant report so I may address any questioning from fellow council members.
Is there a motion to approve the grant report?
Move to accept the report.
I have a motion from Mike. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Millie. Anyone speaking to the motion? All in favor? Aye. Okay, motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is the treasurer's report. Liz?
Thank you. The treasurer's report, everybody should have a copy of that, and it is, there's not a lot of change. So this is representing the month of March, so we're always a month behind. We had one transaction in our local account that is actually investment income from November through March in the amount of $312.43. I don't know why all of a sudden our investment income is much higher, but I'm not complaining. So we have a combined balance in that account of $2,561.47. And there were no other transactions in the month of March. There are, as Dan alluded to, there will be transactions in the month of April, but in the month of March there was nothing else. So those balances for each of the prior year accounts, FY22, FY23, 24, and now 25, remain unchanged from last month. So our combined totals, if you look to the second page at the bottom, we have a combination of $79,872.12 in our combined accounts.
Thank you, Liz.
You're welcome.
Is there a motion to approve the treasurer's report?
Motion to approve the treasurer's report.
I have a motion from Dan. Is there a second?
Second from Sharon.
Second from Shara. Anyone speaking to the motion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. And it appears unanimous. Thank you very much. Okay, next up is we have two sets of minutes to approve, and before we decide how do I want to say this, we can vote them together or we can vote them separately. We don't need to vote on that, but we need to just decide, is the general consensus want to vote them together or separately? Someone have anything in particular on one
Together?
set?
I think together.
It's together, okay?
Everybody okay? Yeah.
Okay, great. So assuming all have had an opportunity to read at this point, I'm willing to accept a motion to approve the meeting minutes for the full council on March 24th and the grant fund subcommittee on March 31st.
I make the motion.
Okay, we have a motion from Ricardo
Second.
and second from Liz. Great. Anyone speaking to the motion? Okay, all in favor? I see all hands up, unanimous. Thank you again, everybody. And that's all we have for minutes. Okay. Now, did someone say something? Okay, it's just in my head. All right. The next item on the agenda is the survey results and some next steps. So as I had mentioned, all of us had participated in providing an understanding to all about our skills, experience, and what areas that we think we might be able to contribute to the work of the Cultural Council. And I recognize that not all of us understood some of the things that were asked, and I appreciate you taking the general attempt anyway to answer and answer the general questions. I'm thinking, before I dive too deep into the results, I thought I might ask the council if there's any member here who needed a clarification on certain items, whether it be a specific program or an active function of the council that you would like to have some clarification on. Yes, Liz?
It's more of a comment than a question.
Sure.
So when I was looking at the survey, I think there was one, and this was a while ago now, but I think there was one section that was, what would you like to see us do? And I was hesitant to check too many things because I was concerned I was committing myself to all of those things.
That's why I started the meeting, so saying we're not doing everything.
I agree.
But thank you. That thought did cross my mind, even as I was doing it. I was like, oh, people are going to think we're going to do all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And we may do all of this stuff in time. We have to grow as a council. We're still pretty young. But I can see us getting there, and maybe with some extra help, which we have. Some is on the way. The other thing too I noticed was the two questions were what are the areas you would like to see us do, like something new, and then what would you like to see us repeat?
Right.
And I happened to notice that there were some that were in the new that would actually be repeating, like they were kind of intermingled, which after I started compiling the results, it sort of made sense because I should have just threw everything all in one list for everybody, because as you saw from my summary, I ended up taking all the answers and separating them into 6 categories. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 categories. The categories being marketing and advertising, grants, administration, outreach, something to continue or bring back, and something new. And that was out of, I think, something around 20 or so skill sets, 20, 25 skill sets, narrowed down to those groupings. And again, some of those skills would cross into other functions. So I did the best I could to try to this. I'm not a professional marketing surveyor person, but I do pretty well. So anyway, what I had come up with were out of the 6 different, or I should say the 5, out of the 4 main categories, marketing, advertising, grants, administration, and outreach, I had come up with thoughts specific around marketing and advertising based on the number of folks who had skills in things like publicity and advertising, social media, and photography, appearing on TV or radio, public speaking, digital design, which apparently I have on here twice, and creative writing. It seemed to me like this might be the avenue we want to start, and perhaps have a publicity coordinator position where we could then have a subcommittee to work on how we want to advertise and how we advertise the council. That to me seems like job one, but we're going to get into, it's not my decision, by the way. We're going to get into the rest right now, and then let's talk about it. Under the grants category would be fundraising, grant writing, and grantee training. And I felt that having a meeting agenda item at some point, maybe next month or the month after, about fundraising ideas and doing some planning around how we might be able to fundraise. And these funds could be used to supplement our grant allocation that we get from the Mass Cultural Council, or we could use it for other purposes. And I know that we are actively pursuing ways to, different ways to fund our grants this year, and if we had a little extra money that we had raised during the course of the year, it might be less of a burden to come to that decision as to how we would separate those funds. Also, I think there's a good opportunity for us to train additional counselors. There's 5 of us on the council that are interested in learning more about grant writing, and we would encourage you to join the grantee training classes that we set up later in the fall. And we should seek someone who might be interested in being a successor for grant coordinator Dan. As you might recall, or in prior meetings, one of the things that we want to try to do as a council is we want to stagger our terms so that we can have a knowledge sharing, knowledge transition, so that all the work that we're doing doesn't get lost when the member leaves, because they knew everything about how it all worked. So we're able to then pass it on to a successor, so to speak. And I think it's a good way for us to help the council grow to be able to do more and be more effective within the community. And so that's why I had mentioned someone who could be a successor for Dan, because Dan's term is 3 years, maybe 6, depending on how he wants to go. But life circumstances happen, and it's the same for me. I need to find a successor for chair, and nobody needs to be scared of that. It's a fun job. It's sometimes challenging, but I know that's part of being the chair. So. Also, we have the treasurer and the secretary as well, and they have their own terms and could use successors too. And based off of the survey, we have members on the council who could serve as successors in all of those areas, which is nice. So as you see your name in those categories, feel free to raise your hand to serve as successor. You don't need to do that tonight, but you can express interest. You can talk to the existing chair, grant coordinator, secretary, or treasurer, and get a feel for what it's all about. And if it's something you're interested in, we'll get you right into the program, which will create the program and then get you into it. So then under that, I kind of jumped right from grants into administration, so we just covered all of that. Let's see. And then on the outreach side, we did have a number of folks that have some skills and others that would like to learn some skills around community outreach, specifically youth engagement and legislative advocacy. And this is something that it's important. I'm not sure if it rises to the top of what's important that we need to act on today. However, we will have opportunities for legislative advocacy, and there is an urgency under youth engagement, I think, and we have a lot of us are very interested in the youth advocacy part of the work on the council. So maybe we could have little sidebar conversations on how we might want to do that in much smaller groups, just to share some ideas. Okay, so that was my monologue, I guess we'll call it, for how I saw the survey. Does anyone have any thoughts they would like to share as well? And these thoughts, they may lead to decisions, they may lead to nothing tonight, but I did want to have the conversation. That's why it's on the agenda, so I'm hoping that we could at least get a little bit of conversation going about it. Yes, Shara?
I would say that I think that it is a really good plan to work on both grant writing skills and sourcing for grant proposals, because I know that the country's government, has been putting a stop to a lot of arts funding, and I feel like arts are really, really important to the mental well-being of a community and the engagement and connection within the community. So, like, if we can find other sources, I don't know what the protocol is as the Fitchburg Cultural Council, where we're allowed to reach out for resources, but yeah, I think that that's going to be really important moving forward over the next few years.
Okay, thank you, Shara. Anyone else? Lily?
Yes, maybe it's part of the outreach efforts, but I think that a good suggestion would be to think about how is that we can reach and even empower other members of the community that they can actually apply for funding. Because last year when we were reviewing, it seems that we got funding from organizations, from individuals that got funding basically like every year. And I think that it would be amazing to try to fund in a way that reflects what is the mosaic, if that makes sense, of Fitchburg. Because Fitchburg has such a diverse community. I'm not talking even about racially or anything like that, but even economically, social background. And I think that it's important that if we're thinking about the youth, that we can tell them, look, this is something that you can have an opportunity. But what if we think about, for example, housewives, and tell them, look, if you work maybe with the Fitchburg Library, you can read books or something like that and create members of the community that are giving something for the community. Because I think that part of making the public part of this, not only as receivers of the final product, but also as knowing that there is an opportunity that everybody can contribute. Why don't we think okay, let's go to blue collar type of jobs, that we have a lot of residents that do those type of jobs. Why don't we go with them and empower them and show them sometimes what hinders the participation of people in arts and culture is basically funding, right? So if people don't have the opportunity, and we are a vehicle in which we allocate the public resources that are paid by the state of Massachusetts, we can tell them, you as a resident of Massachusetts, just as you can enjoy part of the culture, you can also be part of those who create the program. So I don't know where this would fit other than maybe outreach. So that's something that I would like that we have in mind, kind of like to create more participants that reflect the diversity of Fitchburg.
Thank you, Lily. And just to comment on what you said, a lot of the outreach opportunities we already have will be part of the next part of the survey, which is one of the things that we do is try to be present at a lot of events that happen in the city. And that gives us opportunity to have that interaction with general members of the public to learn about their needs and such. And I think that supplementing that with other more direct focused efforts for that is a great idea. Yeah. Thank you. I think Liz, I'm sorry, were you motioning before?
I didn't actually have my hand
Oh,
up. I
I'm
was
sorry.
thinking about it, but
So
Shara
I
beat you
have
to
two
it. Go ahead.
things. One,
Sure.
I love everything that Lily just said, and I think, yes, being, tabling at different events and having some of our meet and greet like kind of events where we can have more members of the community coming together and engaging and planning together. But also, I want to mention the art stewards and the other stewards programs that are active, and the current cycle of art stewards is starting this evening from 6 to 8 at Newview. And they are open to everyone, and they're free, and there are a lot of resources on how to get funding, how to promote yourself, all different kinds of things that help us to engage more with the community, and the community engage more with the arts and the culture that's happening. So it all works together.
So all great ideas, Shara. Thank you. Yes, Liz.
So circling back to what you had talked about earlier with creating, somebody to do publicity, fundraising, grant training, et cetera. I just want to emphasize maybe trying to develop small teams to do that instead of having one person. I mean, I know even if one person is planning to take over for another person as they time out of the board, it just shares the burden a little bit to have small teams, like just don't make them so big that it's a quorum.
It's a great point, Liz. Having served in a few different roles, it would have been nice to have a buddy to kind of tag team with from time to time.
Joe?
Yes, Ricardo.
I'm curious about these teams. What is the ideal size? I mean, how many of these committees are you envisioning, and how many people on them?
So I'm envisioning 0 at the moment to put everybody's minds at ease. We will grow to the size that we can and want to grow. So this isn't. I'm not presenting this vision with an expectation that we're going to do all this stuff. We can double our size, just so you know. We have the capacity to do that from the Mass Cultural Council. We won't all fit in this room, so it'll make recordings a little difficult. But there is a whole lot more we could do as a cultural council with enough engaged appointees. But we need to use a crawl, walk, run strategy, and we are not crawling yet. And so I'd like to get to that point, and we can figure out what that path is together. So, Ricardo, I can't answer your question specifically. However, there are several different aspects to what we're trying to do. I had categorized things by grants and outreach and marketing and advertising. Those could be 4 separate subcommittees. There could also be an events management component, then they would be their own subcommittee as well.
Is the idea to distribute us so that we have equal representation? I mean, that's a way of...
Kind of, yeah, you kind of like that. One of the things that I want to make sure is that you all stay engaged and excited and want to be on the council. And we need to find what is going to motivate you and want you to continue to do the good work that we're trying to do. And that's why I wanted to find out, well, what are we good at? What do we want to do? And if we're all moving in the direction together, doing our own little piece that we really like to do, then I can count on you as chair that you'll be here for your full 3 years, and we won't run into any difficulties along the way, and maybe even have you for 6 years. I don't know. But that's kind of how I operate as chair anyway, and wanting to make sure that we as a council, and myself included, went through a lot of effort to recruit you and convince you to join us and get you excited about it. I don't want to lose that fire. So,
Well,
thank you.
I'm here to do stuff. So,
Awesome.
So I'm going to be on a committee of some sort.
Yes.
But I'm thinking that well, I don't know. I just lost it. Sorry.
We can come back to you if you'd like. I can come back to you.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Did anyone else have anything they'd like to say with regard to the survey?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, Ricardo. All right.
From your preliminary review of the results, did you find a disproportionate number of people in one category and other categories lacking?
That's a very good question. Yes, I did. There are specific, where was it? I think that we're weak as a council on social media advertising in a general context. There are 3 of us that have some skills, and no one wants to learn. No one's an expert. So, yes.
I think that just speaks more to our own exhaustion with social media right now.
I can totally understand it. But I also know that, as I had mentioned earlier, that some of you didn't have a full grasp of like what each thing meant, and this conversation is to kind of tease that out for you. So maybe some of your responses or lack of responses would change as a result of this conversation. So, and Ricardo, you had more to say?
Yeah, that also might reflect the age demographic. Right. If we get some 25-year-olds in here, I think that they'd be very helpful.
Yes, member recruitment is very important.
Yeah.
That's why we have it on our agenda every single month. And yeah, so if there is anyone who has connections into the youth of this community, even from high school level, it'd be great to engage a high school person who might stay, or a college level person at Fitchburg State who might be a local resident, get them engaged to join us. And there's a lot of the younger side of the Cultural Council work that we could accomplish probably much more efficiently than those of us who are not in that demographic.
One more thing. And
Yes.
so you told us that that social media seems to be a weak spot. Was there a very popular spot? I mean, was there any that?
Yes, we all have skills in public speaking, which is great. 'Cause well, not all. One of us would like to learn. But it looks like everybody else was interested in public speaking or have the skills. And I think that's really great, because if you can man a table, you can do public speaking, and most of you can do that. So that was something that I hadn't experienced in prior iterations of the council in the last 9 years. So it's nice to see that we have a lot of people who don't mind getting out there and having that interaction with the public like we do. So thank you. Anything else I could say on that? It was great that we have a lot of...
I guess I'll make one comment.
Yes, Dan.
Mind?
Sure.
I of course really liked your idea of spearheading some of these ideas and I guess priorities of the council in teams. I'm definitely very interested in some kind of communication arm. And I think that a communication arm is something that's crucial to helping to accomplish the grant section of things, the public outreach, community building section of things that we all hope to accomplish and move to build. So you definitely have my support behind that, and I definitely foresee it as like an instrument that can be used to help everyone accomplish their goals on the council.
Thank you, Dan. I'm glad you brought that up, because after I had received the minutes from the last meeting last month, There were, some of us in this room had mentioned other things that didn't make it into the survey, and that's my fault for not thinking to watch the video from last month before creating this, but there were folks interested in perhaps becoming an education coordinator, and what's the other? There were a couple others. We talked about publicity coordinator at the last meeting, education coordinator, and let's see, special projects coordinator and fundraising coordinator. So I didn't want to let those items fall off to the side of the discussion. It was just an oversight on my part for not including them into the survey that you folks had submitted for us.
I have a
Yes,
question.
Sharon.
Are you going to share like a print version of the survey with all of us?
I sent it out by email, and maybe I didn't attach it.
Maybe.
You don't think I did? Okay. I will send it out. I
Great.
apologize. I did send it out as an attachment in my head. And I was really proud of myself.
You were sending a lot.
But I'm going to make a note to make sure I send that. I'm surprised it didn't go. My apologies.
Yeah, I didn't see it. Excellent.
You're doing really good with this discussion despite not knowing anything about what I sent out to you.
No, but you all filled it out, so we all know what was there. No, I really appreciate that you put that together and got us all.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Because, yeah, I think we have a unique opportunity with 12 members on the council now, which we haven't, we've been a very small council for a long time, and everybody who was involved was also involved in a lot of other things. And
Yes.
that may still be true, but there are a lot more hands right now, and it feels like a great opportunity to bring some more things forward.
I agree, Shara. Thank you. Anyone else have anything to say on that part of the survey? Okay. I'm going to move to the next part, which is around what we should continue or bring back and what we should do as new. And then I'll talk a little bit about some of the comments that were also submitted. I'm not going to read through everything. I read off the survey had a whole bunch of things that we could or have done in the past or currently do. Everyone wanted to participate in 01420 week, and just about all of us did, which is really great. If I didn't see you at an event, you were at our table at some point during the shifts that we spent at the Community Club Expo. So thank you all for your participation in 01420 week. Nearly everybody wants to have these creative meet and greets. So I believe that should be something that we continue to do. And the next two were the Winter Bazaar and the scholarship program, that if we're still able to find funding for the scholarship program, it might be something we could continue to do. It would be up to Tamar to fill us in on how we might be able to do that as a council, not necessarily find the funds, but how do we execute on it, and do we have the bandwidth and the right people who can do that. And the Winter Bazaar seems like it's something that we've routinely done at this point in the last 3 or 4 years, and it's good that we can continue to do that. There was less interest in a Spring Bazaar, though. About half as many people.
If I may,
Yes, you may.
I don't have the energy to do winter and spring. If it
can
was
believe that.
winter and summer, maybe. Maybe.
Yep. Very, very little interest in a TV show, so we're going to nix that for now. And the same thing with radio. For new stuff, the youth council thing, we already talked about that. Doing some sort of a cultural award program was interesting. About half of us were interested in doing something like that. So that could be, we could toss around some ideas on how we might want to conduct that in the future. And I will send these results to you. Apologize again for not sending them. Other comments that were here, that there was one individual was interested that we should have some sort of a permanent location that we operate out of, which, an office of some kind might be useful, but that, we obviously are restricted by money more than anything else, and for trying to find a right place to have a permanent location to work out of. We currently operate out of the mayor's office, so if folks are interested in the cultural council or communicating with us, they go through the mayor's office. But that could happen someday with the right amount of funding and the right facility willing to donate or rent to us. That could be a thing. Starting a communications committee, which we've talked about that. And there's someone had mentioned that it would be good for us to, as we think about these things, that we reflect on our Cultural Council mission statement and use that for guidance. There's support for self-fundraising, which we've discussed. And definitely recognizing, I think someone already mentioned this, that, we're all doing more than just sitting on the Cultural Council for life, and we need that work-life and community balance. And so that needs to be considered. I am grateful that we have Spanish translation services in-house at the Cultural Council today, and that was mentioned in the survey. And that's it. So any thoughts or questions on that? Was there a program I didn't say that you were like, oh, I was really hopeful we could do this, or there was something missing, and why didn't you put that on the survey? No comments? Oh, Ricardo.
There are some people like me that have been listening to these titles, and they sound nice, and I really don't know what they mean.
Great.
The programs.
Okay.
So if you don't get a lot of feedback, it may be because you have new members here, too.
Exactly. Is there a particular program you'd like to learn more about right now while you have a captive audience?
No.
Okay.
But I am
That's fair.
interested in joining Dan's communications community.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, great. Perfect. Anyone else? Okay. So where do we want to go from here? So the next part of this discussion is not really requiring of a vote, but if there is anyone that might have an interest and you've been so inspired to do something, I'm willing to entertain any thoughts. Volunteerism, yes.
Well, I would say doing something like holding a creative meet and greet is a pretty low effort compared to some of the other ones. Like that's one where we could move forward because it's basically finding a venue that would let us set up in and then inviting creative people to come meet with us after work or meet each other after work, right? So we've done it we did it at River Styx, we did it at Thirsty Robot. So the theme tends to be, bars where you do a meet and greet and have some snacks and, and just chit chat. And we could also do something at, I suppose, a coffee shop or something like that if we wanted to change it up a little bit. But it doesn't really feel like it's, there's a lot of, there's some planning that you have to do, but it's mostly in like getting the word out and getting a venue.
Right.
And then us attending and mingling, right? And hopefully
Yes.
we could all mingle.
Yeah, exactly. And yes, Shara?
Oh, I agree with that, and I think that this is the perfect time of year, too, to do something in the next, month, sometime during May or the beginning of June, where we're looking towards summer, but people are still in the school cycle and not off on vacation somewhere. But I also think we should plan our meeting. I think you said you reserved some date in August at FEM to do our community listening session.
The public input meeting.
Public input meeting. That's
Yes. And did you have anything more to say, Shara?
I had a thought on somewhere that we could do a meet and greet, but I thought about Smokestack Roasters, and they're mostly a daytime, like coffee shop. They
Yeah.
sometimes open in the evening. I know they've done it for Openness Mic, but I don't know, they probably charge a rent to stay open, even though they can also do more business.
Yeah.
So we could look into that, maybe.
Okay. Yeah, if anyone has connections with facilities that might want to do a meet and greet, maybe if it can be as soon as this month or next month, great. If not, June, July, August, whenever. Anytime we can get the creatives together is a good time, because it just helps our community, brings us closer, and we grow as a result. Plus, we've got 68 new creatives moving in right down the street from here very soon, and they're going to be looking for friends. So, yes,
It
Liz.
might be a good reason to have it close to the arts community so that they could walk from.
Yes. Okay.
I think Dan had his hand up.
Yes, Dan.
It's also just like a great community or organizational like building activity for us. They were pretty much like brushing us out of the room at the expo a couple weeks ago because we were chatting so much. So we had a really good time, and it was we don't always get together outside of this type of meeting. So in that sense too, it's really great. So more comfortable working together. Yeah.
Great. Thanks, Dan.
One other question.
Yes, Shara.
Are we doing a table at 4th of July at the Civic Days? And when?
We haven't decided on that yet. We could. We did last year.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a really good opportunity.
Is there interest, just general, of availability of participating in Civic Days, and doing a shift or whatever at our table?
Our table.
I see a lot of shaking heads. Okay, so we can put that on the calendar, Shara.
Okay. Should we look at other events that we are sponsoring that we should maybe have some presence at?
Yeah, I think so. Dan, if you could, I assume you have the dates of when most of the events are occurring?
Yeah, I can.
You don't need to compile it immediately. I know. I know what the spreadsheet looks like. But maybe if we get a sense of when the events are happening, and we can distribute it to the council, and we can just have people sign up to just show up. We don't even really necessarily have to have a table. We could, if we have the capacity to set up a table and sit there, but at least come up with some sign-up sheet for people to attend and just go around and talk to people.
Yep.
And be part of the crowd.
I agree. Yeah.
Catherine, you had your hand up. I apologize. Go ahead.
Yeah, that was my point. I was to ask if we had done that in the past, to sit in a booth for the Civic Days.
Yes.
An excellent opportunity.
Yeah, we've done that for years.
So unfortunately, I haven't been here for the Civic Days,
Yep.
but I think I will be this year, and I thought that'd be a great
We've done
opportunity.
trick or treat on
to
Main
sit.
Street. We've done a bunch of those kind of events.
Right, and have some kind of schedule already set up so that people say, oh, yeah, I'll be available in October, just set it up by months, and
Yeah, I agree. I think maybe between Dan and I, we can work that out.
Yeah.
Ricardo?
Do we have any program where previous recipients then get to present what they did to the group? I mean, that could be a way of generating interest and also recognizing the artists.
Yeah, Ricardo, that's a really great suggestion. I think we could possibly incorporate it into the public input meeting in August, perhaps. But Liz, you had some thoughts?
Or the cultural award program, like there's.
As part of the cultural award program too. Yeah.
But I agree, even the public input meeting, like having a few folks stand up that have participated and thought their event was very successful, kind of demonstrating how successful it can be, how much of a difference it makes.
And Catherine, you had more to say?
On that point, perhaps we could get a montage, a visual advertisement of the previous projects.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not media savvy, but somehow a PowerPoint, like a Google, whatever.
I could put together.
slide,
Yeah, the
iMovie, a montage of all the, not all, but like some select ones, because people are quite visual. They want to
yeah, absolutely.
participating. They have to go to each select one, but just to see.
Yeah, and we've done slideshows like that as part of our public input meetings before too. And Liz?
I was just going to say that is a great reason to attend some of the events, right? Even if we don't do a table,
Yeah, take pictures.
photos of the events so that we're documenting that for the slideshow.
Great. Was there someone had anything to say on the side? Yes, Mike?
I had one thought, and I'm not sure if this, what action items will come out of it, but one takeaway I had after sitting at the expo was in every venue we attend like that, or every opportunity where we have intercourse between members of the public and us, we really have two faces that we're giving them. One is what's cultural council and what do we do? And two type of people might be coming to our table. One might be an artist looking for money. Somebody else might be coming because they could be interested in joining.
Right.
So we're really selling two things, and it'd be nice to have a really concise, articulate way to distinguish between those two things we're offering.
I agree.
Whether it's at a table or a meet and greet that we have. And there's actually a third face, which is if you're just a member of the public and are curious where your Massachusetts tax dollars are going, this is what we do.
Yeah.
But now that I've set a few tables, venues, it'd be nice to, I'd like to be able to tell them real quickly what the heck we do.
Yeah,
Two distinct ones kind of jump out at me.
yeah, yeah.
One is if you're an artist at all, check us out for money. Or if you want to take part, you can join. We're always recruiting for people, for members.
Yeah, that's great. I think we can evolve into that for sure.
Go together, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Anyone else? Ricardo?
Yeah, I don't know if this was one of your questionnaires, on your questionnaire, but one of the skills that I have that might be useful for the montage is I know how to make videos, so I can...
Excellent. Thank you, Ricardo. Anyone else have anything more to say on the survey? Okay. Well, thank you all for your participation in that. We're going to move on to the last part of the agenda, which is upcoming events and announcements. I just had a couple of things on for my announcements that I had very little time to put together. I apologize. That the next subcommittee meeting for the fundraising subcommittee, I forget the actual name of the subcommittee. Shara, that's
long.
It's what? It's long.
It's a long, yeah.
It's going to be on May 5th.
May 5th.
That's coming up. What's that? Next Monday?
Yes.
It'll be next Monday. And for that meeting, I've forwarded for the committee a conversation I had with the Lynn Cultural Council with regards to how they conduct their funding. And it'll be a great thing for you folks on the subcommittee to review and consider as you go through your deliberations on that. And this next thing, I did see an announcement from the Mass Cultural Council that the governor has proposed level funding the Mass Cultural Council for the FY26 budget. So if it passes, we may be level funded at the local cultural council, but I don't know. Mass Cultural Council gets a lot of money and we get a part of it. And however, they have to divvy up the funds. If they don't change anything, we may see ourselves level funded as well. Anyone else have any
What
announcements?
was the last thing you said?
What's that?
I missed the last couple of words that you said.
Oh, I said if the Mass Cultural Council changes the way they divvy up the funds they receive from the legislature, if they change the way they do that, then we may not see the same amount of money that we have gotten from this current fiscal year. Or we could get more or less.
Yeah, could be variable.
Yeah.
There's reasons to be optimistic.
There is reason to be optimistic for sure. All right. Anyone else have any announcements that they'd like to make? Anything happening
I have three open.
worthwhile?
I have three events.
Yeah, sure, Dan.
This Thursday is the farmers market at FAM, and it's free admission at FAM, so
That's right. It's first Thursday.
go check it out. Fitchburg cleanup throughout the month, so every Saturday, I think for the next 4 Saturdays, there's efforts to clean up the city, so grab your family and your rakes and let's make a team effort of it. And then May 17th on Boulder Drive, the Fitchburg Food Truck and Craft Show. So that looks like a lot of fun.
Great, thank you, Dan. Tamar?
And Fitchburg Art Museum has the regional show in June, so it's open for regional artists to apply. Just a reminder for anybody local.
Great. And speaking of the Art Museum, they just opened their Art in Bloom exhibit, and that opened up on Friday, and it's around, I don't know for how long, is it like 2 or 3 weeks?
As long as the flowers
As
exist.
long as the flowers live? Okay.
Yeah, it was excellent, yeah. Intended.
Yes. All right. Anyone else? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion from Liz, is there a second?
I second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. We're adjourned, 5:52 PM.